Welcome in, everybody. It is another episode of Scribers and Spikes. Tommy is twisted into a pretzel after.
Are my arms in a natural position?
I don't know. Do you look like Naruto, or maybe you look like you're getting armbarred by an MMA fighter?
What is a natural position for your arms? I feel like I'm not doing it right.
I don't know. Is it like this? Is it like this? Is it like this? I don't know. But we're going to discuss it because we have to. We have a lot to discuss today. Atlanta. Last night, they went up to Chester, Pennsylvania, and played 82 minutes of pretty okay soccer and 8 minutes of terrible soccer. And Pro got involved in ways that they probably shouldn't have and didn't get involved in ways that they probably should have. And it just turned into a cluster. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the upcoming Columbus match, where Atlanta stands, the news. We're going to maybe discuss some legal matters. Yes.
Did you get arrested after the game?
No, I didn't. But I probably could have. I was so angry. But Tommy, what's up, man?
I don't know. Just I was so excited for that game yesterday. It was set up. All that talk about Philadelphia being exhausted. We fell for it hook, line, and sinker. We all did.
Oh yeah.
They weren't tired. They looked completely fine. We looked like we were tired. But it's kind of like how I am right now. Like I woke up from a nap like 15 minutes ago. That's how we looked. We looked like we woke up from being off a week to waking up 15 minutes before that game and just not being ready.
Yeah, it was just very lackluster, I think. And here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and say this now because I know that it's been kind of like going back and forth all day. It is okay to have a decent game where you play like crap and get dunked on and also have bad refereeing in the same match. That can happen at the same time. Bad reffing, honestly, probably cost Atlanta at least 2 points last night. It is what it is. Also,
cost you momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the biggest thing. Atlanta also cost themselves 3 points. I mean, if we're being honest. But they're both factors that played into this match. So we're going to talk about it. But yeah, I agree with you. Like Philly, they played a ton. I do think that maybe that second half, it did start to catch up to them, their fatigue a little bit. And maybe that was part of the reason why Atlanta was able to take such a foothold in that second half. But ultimately, I think maybe Atlanta underestimated them a little bit and they got smacked in the face and things didn't go their way. And then they got smacked in the face again and again. And it wasn't a good night.
Yeah. I mean, we had a watch along, our Patreon watch along that we do, kind of our season finale of it, right? Yeah. We'll be back for the postseason doing that. But we were talking about in the chat, like maybe try to exhaust them, make them run around a lot in the first half and then second half, do what you did, right? They're already exhausted, go and score goals. And it didn't happen. You know, you let them control a lot of the game, and really, I mean, they could have even scored even more goals. There was that huge cluster that was right at the beginning of the game where Brad was just trying to look for the ball, couldn't see it, went wide. I mean, it could have been worse, for sure. But the hardest part of all this was, you know, the first, you know, look that didn't happen, right? Where the arm and the just all over the place when it's still 0-0. You don't even go to the monitor. Like,
Yeah.
and I guess that's what I just don't understand, is that you just don't go to the monitor to even have them take a look. And I guess, okay, so VAR, they're looking at it, right? They tell them to hold the play. So I want to make sure I understand this process.
Yes.
And then they said check complete, right?
Yep.
So 100%, 1,000%. That they thought they had the correct right answer. And if there's any doubt at all, that's when they tell the ref to go to the monitor. Any doubt at all?
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. Like,
it's garbage.
It's a broken process in the sense, I feel, and this is just my opinion, this is not a rule that's out there for VAR, but I feel, hear me out here, I might be like coming up with something earth shattering, but like, if I know people are commenting, I think it's the light. I think it's the
lighting. I always feel like I have a bald spot, my mustache too, with the lighting.
Colonel said
Thanks,
that Tommy
Colonel.
overtrimmed his stash on the left, calling him out. Maybe just a little. For those of you listening after the fact, by the way.
Sorry, getting distracted. ADD. Okay.
But yeah, no, like earth shattering hot take. I don't know, but like if the VAR calls down to the head ref is the only one that can make a final decision in the game, right? The initial call there was no handball. Okay. So he doesn't have to go to the monitor to check to fix his call. The problem I have is if the VAR, who is just as much a certified referee as you are, deems it enough to stop the game and check it, the head ref should be obligated and made to go and then check it himself and make the decision. I don't agree with stopping the game just to have somebody else take a second look at it, which, by the way, is VAR. Nobody else really gets to view it. I mean, if you're watching on TV, maybe, and even that's pretty short. You don't get to see it in the stadium, right? Even when we're in the press box at the bins, like we don't get to see it. And they get to make a decision to stop the game or stop the restart of the game. And then we've sat there for 2-3 minutes sometimes, and the head ref just says, okay, well, if what you see backs up what I think I saw, then fine. But it's okay that we stopped the game and held it for, a couple minutes. Like, I just think that's so stupid. I think it's backwards. If you're going to stop the game anyway, just go check the freaking video and make the decision. That's my whatever earth-shattering hot take.
It's not a hot take. I mean, they do it very similar in the NHL as well. They go to the monitor in between the benches. I mean, the NFL, I think the NFL makes that decision, right? It's not the refs. I think they can go look at it, but I mean, they can be told from there the ruling on the field's changed. That's what it is, and I don't know. So that one was weird, and like you saw more views of it that came up later on the internet, right?
Yep.
And
let's take a look at one. I told you I brought some show and tell. So yeah, let me find it. Hang on, make sure we're looking at the right video here. All right. Work StreamYard, please. Please hold while I prepare my presentation.
Yeah, so if you're driving your car and you're listening to us afterwards, what's going on?
Yeah,
How you doing?
Here we go. All right. So we are looking at the cross that's sent in, right? Can you see it, Tommy? You good?
I see it.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, Brooks DeAndre's tweet. What's up, DeAndre?
Boom. How is that not a handball?
That's the no. See, he didn't touch it there. That was the Jedi mind trick. That the ball went down. Like that's your soul. Like that's his soul moving the ball down, so he doesn't touch it.
But look at that though. It looks like he gets. Like I put this in the article. It looks like he's getting armbarred by like a ghost right there. That's not a natural position. Not even kind of
You
a
don't know what he
natural.
does at home.
I mean, unless he runs around like Naruto in his basement all day, then that's not a natural position. Unless you're making snow angels in your backyard, that's not a natural position. I just think it's ridiculous. And I just, how you can't go back and look at that is wild. That's crazy. You literally see it come off of his, not even, it's not even like up here, right? That came off of like almost his wrist. That is the definition of a handball. What are we doing?
What are we gonna do here? Because, you know, I know Atlanta didn't play well, but Pineda went off, right? Pineda's gonna get fined a decent amount of money, right? Uh, what are you gonna do? Because we've been complaining about this for years, right? And every league complains about their refs, but this is bad. Like, this has just been bad across the board. And it's not just for Atlanta; it's for all teams.
Yeah. I mean,
They've got to get it. They've got to get it figured out. But I think they have a contract. I assume there's a contract out there.
yeah.
You know, as far as making it better, I don't know.
I mean, I think,
Sometimes the refereeing reminds me of like when the NFL had the replacement refs for like a good 6 games,
yeah,
and like every play that they called was just completely wrong. That's how I
completely
feel that
opposite.
most of the NFL is, or how this is currently
Yeah,
with
it's
Major League
wild.
Soccer. Yeah.
You know, so like Henry bringing up a good point. If you haven't read it yet, he said the call was so bad, even Jim Curtin himself admitted it was a handball. In Jim Curtin's statement after the match, he's saying, "Yeah, we all thought it was a handball. We knew it was going to be a handball." And then he goes on to say, "Nobody knows what a handball is anymore because, um, it's there's so much." I think he used the word lawyer speak in it, or lawyer terminology or something. Anyway, it's too complicated. So Emilio saying, "What if it hit his side first? I heard that spin." Here's the thing: Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer asked Pro last night. He was the reporter that was able to write his little note out and send it to Pro. And Pro, Alex Chilowitz, gave his comment back and said it was the opinion of the referee that the hand was not in an unnatural position. He said nothing about it bouncing off of his thigh first or anything like that. So that whole spin can get put to bed. It was a blatant missed call, plain and simple. There's no other way to put it. You just missed it. And I feel like you can make one easy fix. One easy fix. Just make the head ref go to the monitor if the VAR says, yeah, I mean, we should stop the game. It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't know what else to say.
I guess we move on. We move forward.
No, I'm not moving on yet. Hang on. No, I'm kidding.
This is just disappointing in general, and getting away from the ref talk. You just weren't ready, right? Like, you looked okay. Like you had some chances, right? And yeah, being up 1-0 completely changes the game, right? Philly starts chasing a little bit harder if you're up, and then you can continue, possibly countering, right? Because they're pushing too hard. They need to get back into the game quick. But even with not thinking of that, this team just looked off. They didn't look as electric. The field looked fine. Didn't look like it was bad conditions. But they turned a switch off on the road, and it's hard to win on the road in MLS. We get it. It's a thing. Like, you could say it's not a thing, but it legit is a thing. But you don't turn it off that much. And you don't mentally break down for that short of a period. And that's what they do. And we looked at the lineup, and we keep saying this. There's no defensive shape that you could really take if you are trying to kill a game, right? Like, you can't win Atlanta United can't really win a 1-0 game if you wanted to, because they don't have the defenders to do that. If they're going to win games, it's going to be 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, any combination that's basically not 1-0, right? Like, it's just not going to happen with this team. I mean, it's just hard. What happened to Sosa? I know we're just kind of all over the place, but man, like, Sosa was okay. Like, he wasn't terrible at defending. This roster's good. This roster's really good. It is. Offensively, it is set up for the future. You've got your core guys. I know Amada's going to be gone, but you got those three up front that are just so electric, right? You got Mamba in there now that is going to be electric. But man, defensively, when you just need to calm down, like I feel anytime this team allows a goal, they need to just sit back and calm down. And they don't have that, and that's what happened. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Yeah, we almost came back and tied it, but it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of really good points there. When you talking about Sosa, I think the writing's on the wall for Sosa. I think defensively, yeah.
He's Moreno'd.
I mean, yeah, he got Moreno.
Really, it's same timing, everything,
Mhm.
right? Like Moreno disappeared from the lineup, Sosa's disappeared from the lineup. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I know we're bringing back bad memories for you here, but
No, it's
he's
okay.
Moreno'd.
He got Moreno for sure. He'll be on his way back to South America at some point, I'm sure. He was a center back in South America, right? He comes up here. He plays more as a CDM, is what it is. He's just not fit for this style. I think this style is too fast for him, and I just don't think he can keep up physically. I don't think he can keep up. And also, when he has had time, he just has not capitalized on it. He hasn't been great. So I really think with the U22 designations and everything that the front office is going to be trying to do anyway, I think he is gone. I also think Franco Ibarra is gone personally. Edwin Mosquera is making a case for himself. Absolutely. And what did we say? We've been saying it for the longest time now that Edwin Mosquera, like he is a work in progress, but I mean, he's got 3 goals in 6 games. That's what you want, right? Like that's a solid trajectory.
He's making it hard for this club right now because you've got a lot to decide in the U22 spot. And I think a lot of it already has been decided, who they're going to keep and how they're, but they obviously have to figure out the how. How do you make whatever their plan is to get those guys out and keep the one you want? But man, Mosquera wasn't even supposed to be on this team. And he's a hell of a sub. He's not a super sub, but he's a sub, right? He's a good sub. And like we talked about, Tyler Wolff, Mosquera, excellent fill-in starters when you need them, excellent subs off the bench when there. You've got those 2 positions set. You keep those guys. You keep Saba and you keep Silva. You're good.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got 2 positions set, backups and starters for next season. Check those off the list. Don't look at wings. You're good.
You've got the backbone of this team set, right? You have options. You're going to have to focus on the defense, and just to go back to something you said a little bit ago, I don't think it's that this team doesn't have talent at the defense, center backs, wing backs, whatever, central defensive mid. I mean, of course, like that's kind of an oddball because Josetu is naturally a number 8, and Muyumba's come in and kind of taken that spot. But those 5 positions, you've got players there, I think, that can do the job, but I don't think there's enough discipline there to keep things in shape when things get a little hairy. I think that's why you see so many of these collapses that just happen and nobody can get anybody back on track. And, I'm sure there would be some pushback from the players if they were to hear that. But I think, we've seen it time and time again. It's just mental mistakes, switching off, somebody not picking up the right player in coverage. Like there's just little things. And that goes back to film and just training the defense. And maybe you don't push at certain moments in the game. Maybe you change the tempo a little bit to kind of settle back in, like you said. They've got to find that balance, and they have to find it soon, or it's not going to be a long run in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs. Look, the playoffs are different, right? This year, you've got the best of 3. But even then, if you go and not completely get obliterated in game 1, right? Like right now, we would be going right back to Philadelphia, right? I think that's how the playoffs look. You go back to Philadelphia and you I don't want to say this team is mentally weak. Short term, I think they are. I think we've seen that they're able to come back and play a good game following a real stinker. But man, You can't just get destroyed in game one and expect that you're going to be able to go back home at 2, and then you're going to go back to Philadelphia, and then you have to immediately come back and you have to go on the road because the top 4 is basically gone. You're going to need help. You're going to need some crazy things to happen here. You're probably going to be at least, in the 5th or 6th seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be staying against Ohio teams. Like you could be going up against Columbus. I mean, you've got a lot of crazy options of what you can have, but like there isn't, as we scoreboard watch, I think the only team you really want to say like, yeah, maybe we'd like to play is New England.
Yeah.
That's the only team I'd be like, cool, we got a decent draw. Let's go hope that they're still not practicing and they're still missing their coach.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the East Coast, to me anyway, it feels like those playoff spots, they belong to the teams that deserve them, right? Like there's really not any kind of sneaky folks that kind of like work their way in. New England being the one exception, but I mean, to be fair, New England played some solid football earlier in the season, and that's carried them now since their dumpster fire got lit and everything went to crap. So, and they're still ahead of Atlanta. So, I mean, I think it's one of those situations where you have to do your job at home against Columbus because, like, I think Sydney said it last night. What you don't want to have happen now is go into a tailspin and lose or even draw. You don't want to draw at home or especially lose against Columbus. Then you have a 2-week break, international break, and you've got a lot of players leaving. They come back, you go up to Cincinnati, and then who knows what they're going to do. They're probably going to rotate a lot. And if that's not going to be an easy match, regardless of how they rotate, but you don't want to go into the playoffs having lost 3 in a row or not even won one of your last 3. That's not momentum. So you got to go to the bins on Saturday and just make a good statement. Just get back on track and then see what happens against Cincinnati.
Columbus is killing it right now. Their offense is becoming just as exciting and dynamic as ours is. You're right. You want to go into the playoffs with momentum? We've had a lot of momentum. Like, we tried to calm people down on Spaces yesterday after the game, even though we were upset, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to face another really good team, a team that made some changes. Yeah, they lost a very good player, but they brought on Rossi, who we were supposed to get, and they're scoring. They're scoring a lot as well. And Julian Gressel's coming home again.
I know.
And Nagbe.
Gresselmania.
Yeah, it's a big game, obviously, for Atlanta, because Cincinnati, whether they play their guys or not, we don't know. Maybe if someone in the when we did our pre-show yesterday, I think someone said they might have heard that Cincinnati said that they might be resting some of their guys on decision day. Whether that's the truth or not, that might just be a moral victory, right? Like, hey, yeah, we beat a team that sat some of their starters. Cool. But you're gonna have to get ready. You're gonna have to get ready, for that best of 3 immediately. This was just a big game for a confidence booster, right? You already beat Philly at home. You're beating them again. Potentially could play them again in the playoffs. Yeah, we're feeling great. I think they're just feeling meh at this point. I feel like they feel screwed, and I'm sure that's what Pineda's saying. You guys played hard. You guys played hard. You came back. You almost tied it. You guys not dominated, but you took care of the game early on. You really caused a penalty when it didn't happen. There's positives to take away the game. That's exactly what Pineda's telling them right now. He's telling them all the good things that have happened, but he's got to really be focusing on that 5 minutes. That 5 minutes of shit. That's what it was. It was shit. Like that's what it was. And they've got to figure that out. But now we move. We move on. But the things we shouldn't be complaining about. Oh man, I understand. Look, I understand. We like awards. We like trophies. But who cares if Pineda? Oh, that one too. I forgot about that one. Oh, you're gonna bring that up.
We'll get to that in a second.
It doesn't matter who took the penalty kick. It doesn't matter. I understand we want Giakoumakis to get it. I get it. I don't know. It's not the end of the world.
I mean,
That
it
was
was
so much talk. We had so much talk about that.
yeah, it was weird. I think you expect Yako to take that penalty, right? Just because he's right there on the golden boot race. But like at the end of the day, I don't really care as long as it goes in the back of the net. And to be honest, I was surprised because Almada he's been suspect at penalties this season. We haven't had that almost guaranteed, penalty taker like Joseph since before 2020 Joseph. Yeah, so it was a little weird. But I mean, at the end of the day, he buried it, got the team back on the right track. Then they go and they score a second one. But like you said, it was that 8 minutes of crap that just broke the team. It broke everything. To be fair, they did fight in that second half, and they showed a lot of, all the buzzwords: heart, spirit, fight, blah blah blah. I mean, they came out and they did the job. They weren't dead in the water, and that's good to see. But it's never going to be easy. 3-0, 2-0 is one thing. 1-0, okay, cool, whatever. 3-0 is never going to be an easy thing to dig yourself out of. So
the Mighty Ducks could have done it, though.
Yeah, they probably could have. You're
going to bring this other situation up, which
I
I
am.
forgot about until
I
saw what you're about to post, and I'm getting angry. I'm getting so angry.
So Henry asked about it earlier, and there's been a lot of people chatting in the chat about everything that we're talking about. This was where this was number one. This is where it all started to fall apart. This was one of the very, I think, frustrating moments for Pineda when he went off last night in his press conference, because man, did he go off. He was quite unhappy. But it was about the 38th minute or so. There's a free kick that's awarded just outside Atlanta's box. Head ref is talking to Brooks Lennon, Thiago Almada. There's another player in here. And Philly lays the ball down and takes a quick restart while the head ref is still talking to Brooks Lennon and is reaching for his spray to set up the wall, which is what they were presumably going to set up, right? I say all that to say really quick, this is another one of those decisions that comes down to the ref and the restart, and ultimately it's on the players to restart the game. However, I've never seen any kind of precedent like this where it's very clear that the ref is not ready to restart the game. The player takes the kick and the ref doesn't blow the whistle and stop everything, because he wasn't even in the right position to do anything as far as his job is concerned. It'd be one thing if he were standing off in his position ready and he was being argued at and everything else by Atlanta. Okay, whatever. That wasn't the case. You were standing there waiting and talking and chatting and getting ready to spray your line out for the wall and where the ball was at. And then they kick, send in a ball, and it becomes a goal ultimately. So here it is, just so you guys can see it. Look at him talking, reaches for, and then kick. He literally reached for his spray, saw him kick, and then put it back and just watched. And so did all of Atlanta, by the way. But like, it's comical, man. It's such a joke.
And he just turns around and just is like, "All right, cool.
Just
we're moving.
Off.
We're moving this game along."
Pathetic, And so, yeah, I didn't want to make a big thing about it, but that is the moment that Atlanta fell apart in this match. That shook them, and they couldn't get back on track until whatever halftime talk Pineda gave them. It's ridiculous.
Brad's just screaming. We didn't know what he was screaming at too, because we couldn't see it at the time. Like, why is he yelling? What's going on? And then we find out later, oh, that's what ended up happening. Jeez.
Yeah. Just, it was a forgettable night, honestly, for Pro. And I mean, for Atlanta too, but also you fought back. You showed some signs that are positive. You just, again, they know this from last year. You cannot switch off in this league, because Atlanta has a really bad habit of every time they switch off, they don't just get punished. It's a goal, like every single time. So there's no luck that goes their way whenever they just take a minute to switch off. They've got to learn to take a step back and bend a little bit and absorb some pressure and then fight back. But man, when they break, they break hard. And it's not good. It's not a good habit.
Welcome to when Felipe said we're not back. Oh, we're back because this is what we've done for the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Just turn off for a few minutes and just have the absolute biggest disasters happen, and that was a disaster.
Yeah. 100%. So obviously we have the actual Columbus game to talk about. We have some folks in the chat. I got a random question while I pull up this comment. This is really random, by the way.
Not double stuffed Oreos. I don't like double stuffed.
Oh, that's actually a good answer to this question, though.
Oh no, I don't know where this is going.
First thing that you would buy when you won the lottery, just off the top of your head. Not double stuffed Oreos, apparently.
If I won the lottery, honestly, I'd buy a house in Atlanta.
Sweet. Come on down.
That's really what I would do. I'd keep my house here and come down, and I probably would move. Yeah.
I like it.
Because I would have money, and then I would just, if you're working, I'll throw you some cash too, Tyler, and Sydney, I guess. I'll throw you both money. But I wouldn't have to work, and then I could just go, talk to Brad Guzan every day at the training ground. What's up, Brad? Get some inside stories, throw a 20 here and there to get the inside stories. But yeah, I wouldn't buy double stuffed Oreos.
You think he'd be bought off with a 20?
I don't know. He's close to retirement.
Wow. I don't know that you're ever going to be able to look Brad in the face. He might just.
I did once, and I was scared as hell.
I can't see the people that disagree with you in the chat. No double stuff. Dan saying double stuff Oreos the bomb. Look,
there's a reason actually. Because my
Oh,
kids eat all the Oreos, right? So
yeah, fair
they
enough.
sneak one. They know they're like one pack is for me. If they sneak one, it's not a big deal. But there's limited double stuffed Oreos in that package, right? So if they steal one, that's like a fifth of the package at that point. And now I have no Oreos.
I mean, I get it. Edgar.
I'm a problem solver, and this is
I see that.
It's a problem.
I see that. Edgar saying I buy season tickets to every team in MLS and gift them to random fans except LAFC. I can only presume that was LAFC.
I think I thought it said I love LAFC. But I guess not.
Yeah, maybe not with Edgar. Edgar also said earlier from LA, he's a Galaxy guy, by the way, just so y'all know. You should know by now, but he said y'all sound like you got smashed by Chicago Fire. If you don't know, Chicago Fire somehow destroyed Miami last night, 4-1. But he's saying y'all fought back in the second half, and that's the silver lining. Y'all are going to be okay in the playoffs. To that point earlier, yes, 100%. Like it was nice to see them almost pull out a comeback, right? It could have been a very, very different match. So there are positives. As frustrating of a match as it was, there are some positives.
Henry, buy a vault of your double stuffed Oreos. My kids would somehow break into that vault, so that's just not that's not going to work at all. The second thing I would buy was season tickets to all the Atlanta teams, Falcons. That actually costs like a fourth of the lottery winnings.
I know,
you got to buy your PSL and then the Hawks and then your guys' future hockey team.
Yeah,
that rumor's been definitely been gaining traction. Just hang out and watch sports all the time.
Yeah. I'd buy a yacht.
I can't swim.
I forgot. God, that's gonna be a Patreon.
Would you take your yacht on? Was it Lake Lanier? Is that it?
No, it would sink like the first day. Absolutely not. That's a death wish. No. I'll take my yacht on the ocean, and I'll go to the Caribbean, and I would do Pirates of the Caribbean stuff because I can do that. All right, we've got way off track. Columbus.
Jesus. So Columbus,
Yes.
do you start the same lineup?
Yes.
Me too.
Yep.
You need as much practice with this lineup, right? Like previous teams, Tata team. Even Frank DeBoer, as you were starting to get towards the playoffs, same lineup, same
Yep.
lineup. Get these guys more comfortable with each other. They're still new. These guys are still, the wings are still new. Get them going. The midfield's the midfield, I guess. Like you're not gonna. There's really not much you can change. The
No.
only position you really have quality of changing are the wings, right? That's like the only thing that you can really do on this team to change things. I mean, I guess you could put Sadich in. Sadich hasn't hit the field, and he's not hitting it, much. So there's really not much. All you could do is just change the wings, and I guess they took Giakoumakis out just because they know that they've got a game on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really what it was. He had some scoring chances. He did. He knew it. But yeah, you got to stick to your same lineup, and that's fine.
Yeah.
No problem with that at all.
I'm not mad if Giakoumakis plays this match and then gets his yellow or doesn't. It really doesn't matter at this point. But if he has to sit out against Cincinnati, the only thing I'm a little bothered about is the fact that it just messes up his chances even more of winning a golden boot, which after last night were made even more difficult because of Denny Bouanga, I think, is up to 17 now, and Acosta is at 16, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've got Yako still at 15. So he's got a lot of work to do. I will say this, Jamal Traore, we haven't talked about him at all. He had an opportunity last night to tie the game. And I mean, kudos to him for getting on the ball and getting in spots, scoring chances. And I mean, he just couldn't get his head above it. He popped it right over the crossbar, but it was going in had he been able to put it on frame. So, you want to see your striker, your backup striker finish that kind of stuff, but it's already a positive sign that he's getting in spots to where he can even affect the game like that, because Atlanta hasn't had that all season at all.
I mean, that's why he needs to see more playing time before the season ends. And that's what we talked about, right? Like, can you get this guy enough play time that when it's late in the game in the playoffs, do you feel comfortable bringing him on? Now, there was a whole bunch of weird stuff we did with that lineup at the end. Barry came on. Jari was on there. It was like, what are we trying to do?
It was really strange.
Yeah, it was something. But yeah, I mean, because you got to make a decision on him at the end of the season, right? Do you keep him? I mean,
Jamal Traore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you'd like to be able to have some type of sample size out there to be able to pick, say, hey, like, yeah, this guy's worth it. Let's keep him for next season. Because Barry's gone. I mean, Barry's contract's out. He's not. This isn't Old Atlanta United front office where we just, for some reason, re-sign him. He's gone. He's absolutely gone.
I agree.
And that's very good for the team.
Oh, boy. It's that
I'm running out of time. There's only a few episodes left with Barry on this team. I have to use it every possible chance I get.
So we'll expect to see that twice more, maybe a little bit more.
I hope not. I hope I don't see him anymore.
Do
you know what his favorite show was?
What is? Please enlighten me.
Gummy bears. Gummy berries. Oh no, his favorite food is gummy bears. Oh, I screwed it up. Oh,
I was like,
I screwed it up.
Where are we going with this one? I was like,
I don't know.
What?
It was good. Berries. Oh.
It was a good route, and then you fell off and you went downhill.
Rewind. We'll cut this out. We'll put the real joke in. Oh, dang it. All right, Columbus. We're playing Columbus on Saturday.
Yeah, we're playing Columbus. And I might have some gummy bears as snacks while we play. No, I mean, I think my biggest thing about this one is Muyumba versus Nagbe. I'm really, really curious to see that play out, because we all have been looking for a midfielder like Darlington Nagbe since he went to Columbus. And now we've got one. That's pretty close. If Muyumba can put on a show against Nagby in the midfield, he's already here. But I think that will just endear him to fans even more than he already is.
Rob gonna be okay? I know Rob's
I don't know.
he's a big Nagby and now Mamba. Like, I get to see him together. It's like the seeing your ex and your current girlfriend like standing in the same room together, and they're dancing. Now they're dancing together. Oh no, it's not good. Yeah, I mean,
you're fighting.
Ours isn't a DP though.
That is true.
You know,
that is true. Which
the,
is what
the other the other boyfriend over there's got the girl that's way more expensive, right? Got way higher costs. Ours is cool. Going to McDonald's.
Yeah. She's high maintenance, and this one is the Applebee's kind of.
And ours has better hair.
It does have some pretty cool hair. It's very easy to keep track of him. Very easy to keep track of him. So I gotta say this too, because
this is why we don't do episodes on Thursdays.
Yeah,
I woke up 5 minutes before this episode started, and
it's look, but this all encapsulates the way that we felt last night about this match. Saba's hair for like the first 10 minutes of watching that game, I genuinely thought it was Andrew Gutman running around on the field, because it just looked like bald Andrew Gutman with the Forest kit back on. And I was like, man, that's wild. And then I realized it was Saba. But anyway, I'm not going to go back to that because I was going to make a point. I'm not going to. Saba, Shande, Giakoumakis, even Muyumba, the whole front five, they've got to show better than they did last night. This was my hot take on the Twitter Spaces last night, but Thiago Almada, if you had a backup number 10, it would have been debatable to pull him at like the half or the 60th minute, because he was just not on it last night. He was struggling. He was a little off with his decision making. He was making some kind of odd passes or lack of passes. He was keeping the ball too long again, and which is not a good match for him. And you've got to get him to start showing up in these big games in more ways than just like, all right, we got a penalty, so now because that's everybody's going to look at that game later and say, oh, well, he scored a goal in that game. Well, yeah, but he was given the goal. He was given the penalty. There wasn't a ton that he did. Now, he had some moments, especially in the second half, but the first half, it was very, very tough to watch, knowing what we know about Thiago Almada. It was just kind of odd. It just seemed off.
I think it's like we could say that about maybe the last 3 out of 7 games, or maybe 4 out of 7 games. I think we've been constantly saying he's been pushing hard, right? Pushing too hard, not passing when he should have, because he was trying to make something happen. Yes, he's had some great assists. That's obviously has happened. But we've said this way too many times, right? That he's pushing hard, and I don't know. When this team didn't have the quality of what we have currently, I don't feel like he was. I mean, he was fine, but now that there's more quality around, it feels like he's pushing harder, and he's been struggling with that. But I agree that whenever you do have to replace Almada, it might not be one player. You might get 2. You might get quality that you're able to sub in and sub out. I think that's the ultimate goal. I mean, we'll see what they end up doing with that DP spot eventually. I mean, potentially 2 DP spots, right? Like, you can really make the midfield something here, depending on where you decide to take these 2 new DP spots you're going to get when Almada's gone and when Saba's bought down. But I wouldn't be shocked if both are in that midfield.
Yeah.
I'm already like, I've got like a whole like whiteboard, like just like thinking about like next season. Like, and I don't want to jump to this, but like, you see, like it's hard not to. Like, I know people like to live in the now, and this is what our team is now. And like, we're having fun, right? Like last season around this time, we're like, we suck. We're not making the playoffs. There's no, good things happening in the future. We didn't have Garth Lagerwey. Pineda might be getting fired. Like, that's where we were at this point last season. Oh yeah, you know what? We have a 3% chance of making the playoffs if Chicago gets the mumps and they whatever team, like, yeah, I mean it's there. Like, you see hope, and like now you're like saying, okay, these guys are on their way out, right? And then like these guys make this much salary. Like Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson has not been good. Has not been good for a while. And for a long time, we were saying it's not just Miles Robinson, it's the midfield. It's still a little bit the midfield. I mean, there's still some problems there, right? But Miles Robinson has just been off on defending. And like that was like, I guess my hot take is, okay, Miles is gone. I mean, people were saying to us, can we make Miles a DP? I haven't heard one person in 3 months even suggest keeping Miles as a DP anymore. That was the trend, right? Everybody was saying, why can't we make Miles the DP? That's not the thing anymore. So I think people know they're out, and I think it's okay because Miles is obviously, if we keep him, you're going to still have to give him a raise, right? He has been good. I think you can find someone maybe of this price of currently of what Miles is getting paid for, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but I think you could get more out of that player. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what's up with him. But you're going to obviously have to create that, and that's okay. Like, I think it's okay. I don't think we were okay 3 months ago saying Miles Robinson's gone and we were cool with it. I think a lot of people are at least feeling this way now. It's like, okay, Miles is gone, but we could do better.
Yeah, I think also, too, 3 months ago, the conversation was very much, you have not much to hold on to other than Almada, Giakoumakis, and Miles Robinson, right? Like, it was, that's not to downplay anybody else like Caleb Wiley but like Miles
Brooks.
was Brooks. Miles was the one guy that, like, man, he's the steadfast, like, defender. He's the men's national team guy. Like, he's the star in the sense, like, that he came up, obviously through college, but he came up through the twos and then the first team, and he really stepped in, and we've all got to see his career grow and blossom and do all these amazing things. And it's been great to watch. But then the summer transfer window happened, and now you feel like, okay, well, we have a group of players that are playing pretty well together. And, like Miles, the defense in general just hasn't looked solid. I mean, it hasn't in a long, long time. And is all that on Miles? No. Could Miles be better defensively, single, like one-on-one defense? Yes. He's still great, right? Like, I would still take Miles over most other center backs in this league for sure. But I agree. I think you do what you did with the midfield and the wings in this transfer window. If you do that in the winter transfer window for your defense, even if it is finding two center backs that are going to gel really well together, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that chemistry, because I think that's the biggest thing that's missing back there. Is it just hasn't really felt like anybody in that back line has had the vibe, right? Like, like Miles and Parada, they were two physical guys that could do well, I think, on their own, but they never really clicked. And then Miles and Abram have been better for sure. Abram is also much more experienced. He's been around a lot longer. Combined with Miles's athleticism, I think has made for a pretty decent, like, stopgap solution. But I think you just need to find two guys that are going to work well together, or one guy that's going to fit with Abram, because we're pretty confident he's still going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. Keeper, defender, midfield, you're cool. You're really cool. And out of those 4 positions, 2 could be a DP.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
No.
And maybe they don't replace all the DPs at the same time. Maybe they keep Almada a little bit longer than what we expect.
Yep.
Unlikely, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. But they're playing it smart right now. Like, you've got the positions, and just got to keep reminding people, no matter what happens. Like, there were a lot of overreactions in the spaces yesterday. A ton of overreactions. This team has been one of the best teams since we've returned from Leagues Cup. We have to remember that. Okay? We know their deficiencies. We know what can hurt them. They know it. We know it. It's obvious. But unfortunately, we've been scoring a ton of goals. Like when Felipe tweeted, just remember when Garth Lagerwey said Atlanta United's not back yet. They're not fully back yet. to me, they're back. Like, I don't dread the game day, right? We were dreading game days for a while. I don't like. I don't. I think people will share that same feeling. Cool, it's game day, but we're gonna get destroyed, right? We don't feel that way anymore. We wake up excited about the games. We've watched multiple games where they're putting up 4 or 5 goals. They're fun. The midfield is exciting to watch them move the ball forward. I think we're back just because of that. We're back in the playoffs as well, which was, I know everybody makes the playoffs, but we weren't making the playoffs anyways. So
Yeah.
that comment holds no ground to me because we're actually in the playoffs now. Like I feel we're back because there's a lot of positives. There's good quality players out there, and we've been fixing all the wrongs. And yeah, you can't fix them in 2 windows, but you're pretty damn close starting into next season because you've got that space. You've got so much available space going into the next window that you're going to be able to fix a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're playing Columbus on Saturday, right?
Well, I was about to say, I think
we've said this like 6 times.
I think one of the biggest
The worst
things
episode ever.
no,
Whenever Sydney leaves us together, we just rant.
I mean,
We said we weren't going to go like more than 45 minutes. It's 51.
that's okay.
We're here.
Yeah, we're in it now, folks. Well, that actually was kind of a halfway decent segue into this next part.
We're playing Columbus on Saturday.
Playing Columbus on Saturday. Atlanta is 6th in the league right now, 49 points. They're 3 points behind New England and 4 points behind Columbus. So right there, I mean, barring whatever New England does with Orlando, and I personally believe Orlando is going to smash New England, you could be sitting right there in that 5th spot, right behind Columbus, and then you have a chance come decision day to make it into that top 4 spot.
Do you know who Columbus plays on decision day?
Who do they play on decision day?
They're at home against Montreal.
Yeah, well, shoot.
Just want to throw that out there before you started getting too excited.
Well, here's the thing about Montreal too, though. They are right now
they're fighting
the last playoff spot. So maybe they do what they didn't do against Atlanta, and they come into that match and they fight because it is the last chance opportunity, right? I see. Yeah, everybody commenting. Fantastic segue. But I mean, here's the thing: you've got. It's not out of reach. I think what pisses me off the most about this match last night was you pretty much put a nail in the coffin for any chance of making it into the Champions Cup next year. Unless, of course,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That sucks. Because to me, that's the ultimate goal in terms of a regular season, on top of the MLS Cup, obviously. But like Atlanta was spoiled enough in 2018 that they won the MLS Cup. Of course, that's what got them into the Champions League. And now you're struggling to make the playoffs. So to be able to make a late run and get that spot would have been really, really fun to watch. Who knows? Maybe they go and win MLS Cup. But you can still make that top 4 spot. That's really what they're trying to attain right now. You want that home field advantage. You talked about it earlier. Atlanta's just it's a real disadvantage for anybody playing on the road, right? You have to make that home field advantage mean something, and it means something for Atlanta. It's very strong. So I don't see this team coming out and pulling any punches in this Columbus match. Now, if everything goes against Atlanta this weekend, then on decision day, depending on how things are looking, I could see them maybe being careful and saying, you know what, we're at where we're at. And maybe they try to get a better seeding. Maybe you try to play New England, or, you know, you get the team you want to play. Because if you're not getting the home field advantage,
impossible, Tyler. Everybody's so close together when you go into decision day.
Yeah.
And we're sandwiched by 2 teams currently, Nashville and New England, who both played a game less than us. So if Nashville wins their game that they catch up on, they're only going to be 1 point behind us, right? They're in 7th. They have 45 points currently. We have 49. So they catch up. They get a 48. I mean, you can be all the way down to 7 at that point. That's the lowest that you'd be able Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Oh no, no, we're fine. Never mind.
Yeah, no,
Thinking wrong thing
you've
here.
locked in an actual playoff spot. You're not
Right.
gonna make it to that play-in game, which is where Chicago
Right.
and Montreal are sitting right now. So
But yeah, I mean, going to 7, you'd be going up against Orlando,
yeah,
right now. And Orlando's likely I don't want to say it's guaranteed, but Orlando looks like they're going to be locked into unless they have some trouble here. I mean, they're 3 points ahead of Philadelphia. They're likely going to get the second seed. So you could be playing Orlando in the first round, which would be crazy. But you need, I mean, yeah, if you lose this game, you can't really set yourself up and be like, yeah, we want to play this team or whatever, because I mean, it's the points go 54, 53, 52, and the 52 team has a game in hand on the other two teams.
yeah,
You know, so there's really no way unless you want to play Orlando, right? If you
yeah.
say, I think we match up good Orlando, then screw decision day. Don't play anybody. But again, that's just bad form because you just had a crappy game against, in your scenario, you just had a really crappy game against Philadelphia.
Yep.
You had a crappy game against Columbus, and now you're going to sit your guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bold move. Or
I was
maybe you
gonna
play him
say,
for half. Maybe you play him for a half, like we were talking about Cincinnati.
yeah,
Play our guys for a half, and then start subbing some of those guys out. I don't know. I'm
because
going to be
yeah,
there, so I hope that we try to win it.
but you also don't want to just not play your starters in that match. Like
Right.
you don't want. And now, granted, a lot of them have international duty, which is okay, but you don't want to go into the playoffs having most of your guys had 3 weeks off essentially because you have the break and then you have this match. And then really, I think it's another week after that. So almost a month that they would be off. So you can't do that. They have to play, they're not going to go out there and like try to lose a game. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think, I think decision day is going to be wild this year. We've seen it in the past where it's like, whatever, this is just another game day. I do think decision day, at least in the Eastern Conference, is going to be wild. I think there's going to be a lot of shifting around the table. Well, at least the top of the table.
Yeah. We could have been in that if we would have won.
Yeah. Yep. Really quick, Dan made a good point here. Forgetting last season due to injuries, 2021 was the worst season that Atlanta's had in terms of points. They had 51. So, like, you want to beat that for sure because you started off so well, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Predictions.
So
What you got?
prediction. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Jinx. All right. Coke.
I'll take
whatever.
Coke. Yeah. I was going to say double stuffed Oreos, but whatever.
What do you think?
I'm going to go with. Oh, man. Should I say it? I'm going to say 3-1 Atlanta. And I'm going to say Yorgos Yakimakis gets a hat trick. Because he deserves one. Why are you looking at me like that?
I was going to say 3-1 too.
Oh, look at that.
Columbus.
Get out. What are you doing here?
I'm sorry. I don't pick them very often. I've watched a lot of Columbus. I got some friends that follow Columbus, so I get to hear everything that they do. I don't feel good about this. I don't. Hey, and usually when it's the opposite, right? When we feel good, they lose. I don't know. I don't. For some reason, I don't feel good. They've been so hot lately. I know that their offense is coming together for sure.
Oh, yeah. This is not going to be an easy match. And I think anybody that has that idea is just not paying attention for sure. That's part of the reason why I didn't say a clean sheet. I was really hoping for a clean sheet last night. That went out the window in the 38th minute. But, yeah, I mean, let's see. Edgar, 2-1, A-Town down.
Is this real?
I think so.
I was at a Columbus. One of the games I went to.
Because every
over the
Columbus
years.
match that Atlanta plays up there is a freaking storm, tornado, monsoon. There's something going on.
But he's talking about us at beating Columbus in Atlanta. So Edgar, but Atlanta hasn't beaten Columbus at home in 5 years.
Is that true? See, I gotta look this up now. I wasn't expecting this
I
one.
know. I was at one of them, and we ended up getting smoked by them.
Yeah. Oh, now I gotta know. Hang on. That's enlightening. Here, while I do my quick homework.
Well, join our Patreon while you're looking that up. Thank you all for hanging out and putting up with our random thoughts. We didn't really have much written down. Tyler did write. I think I saw Tyler write some notes for the show. I never looked at them, so that's obviously why we've been all over the place. So that's my bad. All of this, you can blame all of this on me. Edgar is saying August 19th, 2018. I do remember we had a game against Columbus. This was when we had no coach, and that game was bad. It was on ESPN, I remember.
Yeah, 3-2 in August of 2021. But I'm trying to see, was that at Columbus or was that at Atlanta? That was a wild one.
Who scored in that game?
Barco and Moreno.
Oh, then that was in Columbus. I was at that one.
Okay.
Barco scored that crazy goal. I remember. Yep, I was there. It was. You know what happened before the game? Can you take a guess?
What happened before the game?
It rained.
I bet it did.
It rained a lot. It rained a lot in Columbus. But yeah, so join our Patreon. I know we just had our watch along. We're gonna do watch alongs for the playoffs for the road games. Spoiler now, we're probably gonna have 2 road games if we make it to game 3. So we'll have 2 watch alongs. So more worth than that. We have a cool Discord where we chat about literally everything. If you were on our Discord, you were one of the first people to see Pineda's remarks from yesterday, his blow up. But we have a good time there. Discounts for stickers. We're doing stickers. We're going to try to add some more stuff for next season. But yeah, come join us. We're going to do some extra episodes, and we're kind of just planning what we're going to do in the off season here in the next couple weeks, because we want to keep doing stuff, and we want to have some fun things to talk about, at least in the winter, and hopefully, like what we just talked about. And if not, we're wrong. But we should be seeing plenty of transfer rumors.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of spots.
Yeah, and it's going to be silly season again. So I mean, we'll definitely have stuff to talk about for sure in the off season. On top of that, like Tommy said, scarvesandspikes.com. Go to the website. Got articles. Got our shows going up over there and everything. And yeah, go buy some stickers. We want to see them plastered all over Atlanta or wherever. Not illegally, though.
Stop it. Don't do the Sydney thing where it says don't do it illegal. Do whatever you want with your stickers.
That's my little underscore. I don't really care what you do with the stickers.
If you just put one on like I'm gonna get in trouble. I say, like, if you go into the Mercedes-Benz and you just see it on the toilet, like somewhere, and then like Tyler, you're going up to the press box and they just stop you and go, "Excuse me, sir, we got to talk to you about your podcast stickers."
Your stickers are showing up in places they should not, sir. What are you doing?
Yep.
All right. Final thoughts. Anything cool?
I hope I'm wrong. I really am. I hope I'm wrong on Saturday. I know. This was really just a kick to the stomach, this game, because I really thought that this was almost, I don't want to see a guaranteed win, but it just felt like everything was set up for Atlanta to finally have some real success on the road, and hopes were high and reality was low.
Yes, I agree. Can't say it any better than that. That was good. Now go back home and get a win and get back in it. Get you some momentum going before the international break breaks it all again.
Yep.
All right.
See you guys later.
Yep. We will see you guys doing our pre-match show Saturday. I'll be at the Benz. I think Sydney will be there too. You'll be in Ohio, right?
Probably raining.
Probably raining. All right. We'll see you guys then.
I'll be eating my gummy berries.
Oh, those gummy berries. I wish you want to sing the song.
No, but if I tried to throw a gummy berry into my mouth, it would probably miss.
Wow. Wow. Oh boy. And that's where
I
we
couldn't even
ended.
get the gummy berry even in my hand to throw it in my. Oh, I'm gonna run into Barry again and